My name is Steve Shreeve, and I'm a software developer in the medical field, and we live in Highland, Utah. We moved into our home in January of this year, and the lawn is large and kind of a unique shape. And it's about, all told, the area is about 1.5 acres. The lawn is probably 1 acre, 1.2 acres, something like that. There are a couple of shapes in there. There's a backyard section, which is fairly square, rectangular. Then there is an area that is kind of sunken in a little bit, almost like an area for a pool to go, and that's disconnected and down maybe 3 feet from the other portion of the lawn. Then there's a section on the side, and we have a couple of other disconnected pieces that are you need to cross over cement to get to those areas. So there's several regions, and I would say a fairly complex yard. We moved from Kentucky, and we had a large mower there that was a zero-turn mower that was a 61-inch. So we tried to use that here, and it was a disaster because it was far too big, and it was very fast to mow the yard, but we beat it up. We sold our zero-turn mower that was the larger mower, and we were looking to get a replacement that was a smaller sit-down mower. And as we looked at the prices and the different options, it was about $3,000 to get the sit-down mower, and which is roughly on par with the Automower. And so as we started looking at that, I started thinking, well, maybe there's an option here that would allow us to be able to have the lawn mowed without having to do a bunch of work. So as I was looking at it, about $3,000 for a sit down with a lot of work, a couple hours every weekend, versus an Automower which would completely handle it. And we started looking at the economics and just the time, and we realized that the Automower was probably a better route. So we decided to go ahead and do a test run with Pear here in Highland, and we were able to do a test run that was very successful. And so we went ahead and we purchased the Automower, and we've been very happy ever since. When I first looked at the Automower, I thought that the price was maybe a little bit high. But as I started looking around at the alternatives, the sit-down mowers, they were roughly on par. And so that was one of the first obstacles, which seemed to kind of go away because I looked at the price, but that didn't include my effort every week. And so that was the initial obstacle. The second obstacle was just my wife, who thought that I was just trying to buy a robot lawnmower. And so she was kind of concerned that I was just kind of playing around. And the third one was, just in general, is can this thing really work? Will it work with our yard? Can it handle the different levels that we have on our yard? Can it keep up with the weekly growth? Will it break down, etc.? So from a high level, I guess you could say that there was price. Another obstacle was just the concerns of my wife thinking that we were playing around. And the third one was just durability and longevity of the device itself. The Automower has been an incredible purchase. We've been able to completely not even have to think about mowing the back portion of the yard where it's set up, which covers the large area of our yard. We don't even have to think about getting the lawn mowed because it's automatically done. The results, what that allows us to do is to focus the rest of our time on the other parts of the yard that would normally be neglected because time is limited. We usually do our yard work on Saturdays, and by not having to mow for a couple of hours on Saturday, I use that time for other parts of the yard to improve them. We also had a wedding here shortly after we set up the Automower. We had a wedding with 150 people or so, and after the wedding was over, the mother of the groom came up and said that the most interesting part of the star of the show was the Automower. And everybody kept talking about how the Automower, and everybody came back and looked at it, etc. So I'm sure the bride and groom were beautiful and everything was wonderful, but she said that from her perspective, the star of the show was the Automower. One of the biggest benefits of having the Automower is just the fact that it's peace of mind. I don't have to think about mowing the yard. It's also mowed on a continual basis, and so that peace of mind extends to the fact that it's not just that it's mowing every Saturday and I don't have to think about it on Saturday, but that it's mowing throughout the week. So it's a constantly maintained yard without any effort on my part. That's the biggest benefit. The other benefits extend into extensions of that, meaning that a benefit is now I can spend my time on other parts of the yard that would normally be neglected. Another benefit is the app, which is very helpful. It manages allows me to change the times when the lawn will be mowed. I can also see the timer. If there's a weather timer, or it's going to rain, I see that as a benefit that it doesn't run when it shouldn't be running. It also alerts me if there's ever a problem. If something has happened that I need to fix, it alerts me right away, and so it makes it very easy to manage and to maintain the Automower. Taking care of the lawn that the Automower covers, we spend zero time. All the time that we spend on the lawn is wherever the Automower isn't set up yet, and we're planning on setting it up for those other areas as well. So as we look forward, I hope to spend essentially zero time on the lawn. Well, we've already recommended the Automower to everyone that comes by. We've had several people who have asked us how we, knowing the home, because they knew the former owners, several people asked us, how much time we're spending mowing the lawn, because they knew that was a major amount of time was spent every week managing the yard. Now when we get asked that, the answer is no time. We don't spend any time mowing the lawn. We spend that time working in other parts of the yard. So we've talked to a lot of people, and there seems to be a great deal of interest in the Automower, and it seems like a technology whose time has come. It seems like the Automower technology, which has been around for many years, is now, there's sort of a confluence of several other things that are going on in society and technology, and where we are is going forward. It seems like the time of the Automower is definitely here. So we're excited to be early adopters of a technology that we see as eventually pervasive across the United States.